the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what does it mean to be selfish? To be selfish is to be a burden to another human being. Whenever you find yourself a burden to somebody else or someone else is a burden to you, that is a very selfish act. The person who dislikes himself, believe it or not, is the biggest burden to be around in the world. This is someone who is never happy, doesn't know how to make themselves happy, is using other people to try to get them to be happy, is always blaming other people for the conditions of their life. The person who has self-doubt or self-rejection doesn't know how to enjoy their life. And being around a person who doesn't enjoy their life is burdensome. The person who does love themselves, who feels good about themselves, who, if you ask the question, do you love yourself, there's not even an issue there. There's not even a question involved. It's simply, of course I do. This is me. This is all I have. Of course I love myself. Why wouldn't I? Why would I ever put myself down? It has nothing to do with being conceited or finding fault with other people or making yourself better than anybody else. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the simple notion that in order for me to be happy, I have to love myself. In order to be able to be free from being a burden to somebody else, I have to know how to enjoy my life. If I know how to enjoy my life, it means that I am loving the life that I'm having, and that means I'm loving the body that I'm in. I'm loving the self that I am. And therefore, you will not be a burden to anybody else. The person who loves themselves is never a burden to anyone else unless it's conceit. And conceit is just another form of trying to get other people to pay more attention to you. But if it's just authentic self-acceptance, then it is the most important thing that you can do. And in raising children, nothing is more important in the whole educational environment than self-concept, self-esteem. This is what we're trying to teach all the time to young people, is feel good about yourself. Treat yourself, cherish yourself as a valuable, important, significant, grand, divine creature, as someone who is unique and special in all the world. And feel that way about yourself wherever you go, and carry yourself that way. Because the minute that you start practicing self-rejection, and self-rejection shows its ugly head in a lot of ways. You can reject compliments that are directed at you. Oh, this old thing, I'm really not very smart. I'm just real lucky, I guess. I mean, that whole kind of condescending, always putting yourself down. Someone says, gee, you look really nice today. No, I don't really look nice. This is just a facade. This isn't the real me. You can make up excuses for why you look nice. It's my hairdresser. She does it for me. Or it's the wardrobe. Or it's the color that I'm wearing. It isn't really me. You can give credit to other people all the time and not take credit for yourself. Whenever somebody says something to you, you can experience self-rejection by saying things like, well, my husband feels this way, or my mother always said. In other words, putting the emphasis for your life on other people and other events and other things in your life. You can always be verifying your opinions for other people. If someone says something to you, your response can be, well, isn't that right, George? George, tell him that this is what I mean. That's a form of self-rejection. You might be in a restaurant and refuse to order something that you want because you don't think that you're worth it. So you look for the cheapest thing on the menu. A very typical kind of self-rejecting kind of attitude. You cannot buy yourself something, even though you might have the money, because you don't think that you're worth it. I've seen many times on airplanes where someone will refuse to have a little glass of wine with their meal because they don't feel that they should spend $3 on themselves. So they put the $3 away and don't feel that they are important enough to have that. You can avoid indulgences and doing nice things for yourself, not because of finances here, but because you just don't feel that it's worth it. You certainly shouldn't have flowers around. I mean, you're not important enough to have flowers. Other people get flowers, but certainly not you. Anyway, these kinds of self-rejection attitudes start out very young in your life, and in fact, you may have been carrying them around for an entire lifetime. It isn't to say that that they didn't happen to you and haven't been going on in your life since you were a little boy or a little girl. But the fact is that you have to still understand that life is a choice, and that if you want to improve your self-esteem and you want to improve your life, it starts with saying to yourself, I have been buying into this all of my life. As a little boy or a little girl, it wasn't my mother who did it to me. I believed it. I bought into it. They tried to convince me that I wasn't that important, and I accepted it. And now I'm an adult, and I am still buying into it. I'm still accepting it, and I'm still carrying over all of this leftover baggage from perhaps other people making this effort. So you have to say to yourself, they didn't do it to me. I allowed it to happen, and I am no longer willing to allow myself to be immobilized by the rejection that other people or other events or other institutions or whatever it may be may have attempted to impose on me. So what you want to do at this point is if you can see that there are areas of your life in which you are self-rejecting, and identify them and make a commitment to changing them, then you can come up with some specific things that you can do about them. And some of those specifics, those strategies, those techniques that you can use to rid yourself of this self-rejection are really quite simple. I mean, you can begin to discipline yourself to select new responses to others' attempts at making you feel good. When someone says to you, gee, you look really nice today, you can practice, instead of that immediate self-rejecting kind of, oh, it really isn't me, or this is my hairdresser, or whatever, you can just a very simple thank you, or it's nice to know that you appreciate me. Just, even if you don't mean it. I mean, sometimes you have to fake it, but faking it is all right, as long as you are practicing a kind of, hey, if someone says to me I look nice, or that I smell good, or that I look nice in this outfit, or that I look younger than I am, or whatever, I'm entitled to that. I'm entitled to a compliment. I'm worth that. You can practice saying things like, I love you, and check, well, when someone says that back to you, how do you react to that? What is your reaction to that? And accept the I love yous and the caresses and the affection that other people are directing at you as something that is directed towards someone who deserves that, rather than always doubting it and saying, oh, I wonder if he really does that, or I wonder if she really means it, and all of the doubting kind of things. Of course you would love me. Your attitude, your inner conversation goes, of course you would love me. I'm worth being loved. I'm a valuable person. You can practice ordering things that you want in a restaurant. I mean, just for practice. Instead of looking at the price tag, ask yourself, what do I feel like having? And give yourself little rewards. Little rewards are things that you can practice. And the practice